here from the Next Issue Podcast. Today's video, I'll be doing a review of My Hero Academia World Heroes Mission. This is a 2021 film. It was released on the weekend of Halloween, hence me wearing my headband representing the Leaf Village. As of recording this, the Rotten Tomatoes score is 80% for the critics, 95% of the audience. The beginning of this video will be non-spoiler, and then I'll give you guys a heads up when I'm heading into spoilers. So let's get to it. So for the synopsis here, when a cult of terrorists ruin a city by releasing a toxin that causes people with quirks to spiral out of control, Japan's greatest heroes spread around the world in an attempt to track down the mastermind, and put them to justice. This is directed by Kenji Nagasaki, written by Yosuke Kuruda, and obviously all these characters are based on Koei Horikoshi's work from the manga.
我々ヒューマライズは今こそ立ち上がらなければならない。
So I went to the theater. This is only in theaters at the moment. And I had a really good time. I'm glad I went to see a release weekend. I'm a big fan of My Hero Academia. I would definitely recommend you finish watching season 5, although a lot of these movies aren't fully canon in the world. I think they may introduce concepts, or at least touch on concepts or characters or things that could be something that maybe the manga hasn't touched on. So you could consider them a bit spoilery. But overall, I love going to these movies. I've gone to. I didn't get to watch the first one in theaters. No, yeah, I did. I've watched all the My Hero Academia movies in theaters. So that was a lot of fun. This was also very fun as well. My theater wasn't very full. I would say maybe about 10 people in there. Plenty of screenings all the way. I did watch this dubbed. I enjoy My Hero Academia dubbed more. Then I like the sub just fine, but just because I like to watch the animation and the fights and pay attention to that as opposed to reading, but so that's where my review will come from as far as the performances and everything. But I think if you watch the sub, you're probably pretty familiar with the voice acting and performances and everything. So first of all, let's start at the top with like what I would consider the best of the best. The animation. Holy shit. The animation in these movies, like whenever it's a movie that spins off of an anime, kind of like Demon Slayer, like Dragon Ball movies, stuff like that. Even just standalone movies that don't really like Weathering with You or just stuff like that doesn't even Your Name, stuff like that. The animation is always like next level, exquisite. It's really cool. Like they have a very slight mixture of like 3D CG backgrounds and just like really refined character designs. And from the trailers, you could see that some of our heroes had a new costume design, which I'll get to a little bit more into when we get to spoilers. And then, yeah, just the animation overall, top notch. Old characters, new characters, recurring characters, like everyone looked great. All the backgrounds, all the settings, the fighting. Oh my goodness, the fighting. We have multiple set pieces in this movie, and like it is insane how good they look. This is just from one viewing. I definitely want to watch the movie again to go over in more detail, especially because there's a concept introduced in the movie that I want to go back and track throughout the story. I think it's a really neat device that you don't really, at least I didn't pay attention to it until it was mentioned in the movie. And I think overall with this movie and movies like this, it just knows kind of like what the fans like about watching the anime, and that's what it delivers. That's what it brings, and it leans on the most. We already know, I think so far as of season 5, the story's been pretty solid, and here the story is also very cool. The concept they introduced of this group called Humorize, um, which is, they believe that quirks will end the world. So as we've kind of seen in the trailers, this organization is now targeting heroes, and we're trying to figure out what's going on, especially our main heroes. One of the big things from, and this is slight spoilers for season 5, um, the trio of Bakugo, Deku, and Todoroki is one of my favorite groupings in anime at the moment. Um, it's almost up there. Like the next closer one would be maybe the first year students in Jujutsu Kaisen. But yeah, those three, like their their power sets, their quirks, their relationship, their interactions, their dialogue, like, and then they get to work with, Endeavor. So that's, yeah, I really like that. I really like that, and the movie leans a lot on you being a fan of that. So that really, they really nailed that for me. Really enjoyed that very much, very much. Um, uh, a few things that maybe didn't fully click for me. I would say during movies like this, they usually introduce like a musical interlude at some point in the movie, which the music is great in the film, but where there was a montage, with a musical montage here, that I felt really brought the movie's pace like screeching down to like a crawl. In a part where I felt like we had a lot of momentum going, and it's also kind of long. Like it's a few minutes long, so like if you trim that out, this movie is 5 minutes shorter. This movie is an hour and 44 minutes, which is, I would consider, long for an anime movie. So if you trim that out, I mean, just those 4 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes of music that I didn't feel delivered much to the movie, um, I think it would have been tighter, more like the pacing would have stayed on point. It did pick up once again right after that. Uh, so the pacing of the story was very well done. I really enjoyed that. So overall, if you're a fan of My Hero Academia, I feel like this is a must watch. Um, and even if you're not, even if you're kind of casual, like, I think if you want to see more anime movies like this in the theaters, it would be a good idea for you to support this while it's in theaters. I don't know how long this will be around. The Demon Slayer movie was around for a really long time, but then again, that was one of the first movies coming out of the pandemic, when theaters started reopening here in the states. But yeah, so the that's gonna be the non spoiler part. I'm very leaning very heavily with the audience score of 95%, pretty close to there myself. I think the critics, it's hard sometimes for me to take the critics a little bit more seriously on something like this, because sometimes these publications, they don't, like, their staff, not everyone is normally familiar with some of this material. I'm sure there are people that watch anime and then review movies. I'm not saying that there isn't, but I have seen some reviews where it feels like it's a person that had never even seen anything about this. So I feel like some of the stuff may be a little bit lost. Some of the things that I'm praising may be a little bit lost on somebody that's new to the property. That doesn't mean they don't have the capacity to review a movie that they're not familiar with. I think that's definitely not the case. I just think that's why sometimes their score may be a little bit lower than somebody coming in with a little bit of backstory, because these movies also rely heavily on that, right? So, all right, I'm gonna go for. Let's start doing spoilers here. So after this point, if you haven't watched the movie, I recommend you go watch it, because we're getting into spoilers. One of my favorite things here was the villain that they introduced, Mr. Fletcher, I think is his name, or yeah, something like that. The, the quirk that they gave this villain, and that's a big, that's why, like I said, this is spoilers now. That's a big this dude works for, like, he's the leader of Human Rights, which is a an organization that wants to get rid of people with quirks, right? So the fact that the leader is somebody with a quirk, it's like it's a big reveal at the end. I But it's a very impactful once you figure out the backstory. Like, his quirk is one of the coolest things I've seen, and it makes for an excellent fight. Also, one of the things that I kind of ding the movie on, like, for an organization that heavily relies on trying to get rid of people with quirks, um, they definitely had a lot of people with quirks in the organization, which makes sense because you would want, like, if people with quirks are trying to, if the heroes are coming, you need to put them up against either some kind of big technology or somebody with a quirk to make it interesting. So yeah, that was maybe a bit of a misplan or a misstep, but once you look past that, it delivers great fights. They introduce really cool quirks, really cool. Like I said, set pieces overall. There's a big fight. I mean, towards the end, there's just like the last 30 minutes of this movie are just boom, boom, let's go, big fight. Um, so that was a lot of fun. I At the time felt like building up to that musical interlude, and then after that, and it's just a traveling montage, so it's not too bad. You really trying to. I think they did it to try to build a relationship between Todoroki and the new kid they introduced. Um, I don't remember his name, but he's got the red hair and the little tie in the trailers. I think they did it so we feel like they're building a relationship, and it makes sense why Bakugo, or not Bakugo, why Deku would do so much to try to help him. But I think Deku would do that for almost anyone. So yeah, overall, we get to see a lot of the heroes, but very little of everyone that's outside of Todoroki, Deku, and Bakugo. Even Endeavor's team, like, we see them, but we see them very little. This is definitely not their movie. Um, and we kind of check in with all the heroes that are scattered all over the place, all over the world. But I think that was just mainly the fan service of, like, hey, check it out, everyone's in this movie, right? All the heroes you like, because some people's favorites may be you know just anybody else from Class A, which is also interesting that all the heroes that are out there are mainly from Class A. We do see a few that have been introduced in season 5, which is kind of what I was saying, that sometimes they would get into spoilers. But yeah, overall, I had a lot of fun, a really good time. The movie, I think, delivered a great. Um, the resolution, I think, was very fair, and like, stuff like this doesn't need to have like big consequences. It could be just its own closed story. So yeah, it was very interesting. I mean, I think the big the big trick with this movies is, let's raise the stakes, but then also make sure that we can kind of go back, because you can't really change too many things. In the end, you have to go back to what the manga is doing, even if you want to call this not canon or whatever. So I don't know, but let me know what you thought of this movie. Like I said, I'm pretty high with this, like A plus, 90-95%, very close up there. Very few little things that I didn't like. The reason I wanted to go back and take a look at it again, they introduced the concept of this new character that travels with Deku. He has a little bird familiar, I would call it, that it shows his true emotions or true intentions, so he can't lie. So I want to go back through the movie and track this little. That reveal was done very close to the end of the movie, so I'd like to go back and track. Like, anytime he's saying dialogue, do we see the little bird maybe showing the truth to the speaker? You wouldn't know to look for that if you don't know the quirk and how it works. So pretty interesting. Um, like I said, the main villain's quirk is also really cool. It's kind of like this reflector thing that um, it's a double-edged sword. But I'll let you guys figure that out in the movie. So, but yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you like this movie, if you watched it, if you want to watch it again. Hopefully this comes out soon on video on demand. I know sometimes these movies take a little longer to hit video on demand because of licensing and stuff with the like Funimation or Crunchyroll, although now they're one entity, so who knows what's going to happen there. But I'm very much looking forward to this. Also, you get a little manga book. If you go to the theater, make sure to ask for that or check if they have one. If they don't be mean. Just I'm just letting you know, so you check and make sure you don't forget it if they have it. So thanks for watching, everyone. Check out our Patreon. We have a link in the description. And yeah, see you guys next time. Bye. Oh, and happy Halloween if you're watching this on Halloween.